Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premananda jai, Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshura Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuddha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Ragana Sandvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Anvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasade Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Ram Rama Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vacharne Nirvase Shastanyavadi Astachade Shatari. Srila Prabhupada. Already done. We do again. Sometimes we say, why you do that again? We already did it. Something is never satiation. Materially speaking, we may get satiated with certain things. Take, for example, maybe a certain music. You can play it so many times that after so many plays, you want to definitely listen to something else, no matter how good it is. Or you may have a very nice, I guess, well, let's say an example, everyone knows chocolate. Most people like chocolate, I guess. Maybe you don't eat it, I don't eat it, but it doesn't mean I don't like it. Very tasty. But how many chocolates can you eat? Maybe you don't eat. You eat chocolate?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
No. What do you like eating?
I like eating puri.
Pardon?
Puri.
Puri.
Yeah.
How many puris can you eat?
But I like 2, 3.
Doesn't sound you like them very much. 2 or 3 puris, you know, they're little like fried bread. No more than 3?
No.
You said 10.
Huh?
10.
10. We're going to test you after. Did we make puris today? Are they making puris today? We're going to test you. We're going to sit next to you, okay? We're going to see how many puris you can eat. We'll start with 10 and then we'll see how many more you can go from there. Maybe 12, 13, 14. After a while, no more puris, right? Enough is enough. You're feeling like a puri after 15 puris. Fried. Yeah, there's a limit. Every material thing has its point of satiation, you could say. Limit how many you can eat. After a while you start feeling sick, huh? You take ice cream or something. Maybe you can eat 10 ice creams, and after that, wow, that's, whew. Even pizza, you might like pizzas. How many pizzas can you eat? Well, it depends how big they are, I guess. How many can you eat? You like pizza?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
like it.
Which kid doesn't like pizzas? You like pizza too? Sort of. Sort of. What about the little one? What's your little one behind? What's it say? Yeah. Most these days, pizza's become like universal food. Everywhere you go, pizza bar, pizza everywhere. Yeah, everywhere, all over the world. India, China, everywhere. Pizza. Africa, pizza. We never heard of it when we were kids. Never heard of it. Was Sheshwar, you ever heard of pizzas when you were a kid? Never heard of it. Well, I never heard of mango either, by the way, when we were kids. Never heard of it. So many things. Only very few foods. Even fruits were limited to, mostly local fruit, really. Apples, pears, grapes. There were some coming in. Grapes, bananas, pineapples. But not many. Not like now, you get some of everything. Mangosteen. You know what mangosteens are? Who knows what mangosteen is? Mangosteen. You've never had a mangosteen? I can't believe it. You haven't lived. They don't grow in this part of the world, obviously. It's not a mango, by the way. It's quite different to a mango. But it's pretty much as sweet, but it's completely different. It's a beautiful little fruit. It grows in Thailand, Malaysia, that part of the world. Perhaps a few other places. It's kind of the size of a golf ball. Table tennis ball or something like that. Maybe a little bit bigger. Can grow bigger. It's quite a thick skin. And inside it is delicate, so delicate. You know how this happens is miraculous. How these fruits appear. All so amazing. I mean, it's just inconceivable to think how they... It's also inconceivable to think it's by chance. But this beautiful fruit is so delicate. It's so sweet. And it's like cream, delicate fruit. They call it the queen of fruit in Malaysia. So delicate fruit, so delicious fruits. So many, if we don't know about. But you can only eat so many. They may be nice. If you'd heard of durian, you must have heard of durian. National fruit of Malaysia. Durian, they used to call it gorilla fruit. You know what a gorilla is? A gorilla. You know what a gorilla is?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's like monkey.
Like a monkey, is it?
Ape.
Huh? Huh?
An ape.
Bit bigger than a monkey, yeah. Kind of a bit more aggressive, like, well, not aggressive, actually, they're quite friendly. But they're very big and kind of strong. Jungle, live in the jungles. They call it gorilla fruit. It's so heavy. It's got, if you put a stick through it, you could use it. What are those? They're called scimitars, whatever. In the Middle Ages or earlier, they have these balls on the end of a stick with spikes sticking out that you smash people on the head with. Huh? What's it called?
Mace.
Mace. Does that have spikes on it? A mace?
A mace.
I know a mace, but does it have spikes on it?
Yeah.
Okay, well imagine it's got spikes on it. If it does or doesn't, I don't know, but it's a mace. Okay, it's got spikes on it. Like that. It's a fruit that's got these spikes on it that will tear you to pieces if you try to hold it. You can't hold it with bare hands. It's the national fruit of Malaysia. And it's not allowed on any public transport. It smells. It says, tastes like heaven, smells like hell. You can't imagine what it smells like. It's unbelievable. It will, no, if they had one over in the school, they would have to, close the windows and it's so strong. Anyway, all these different, there's a limit. People love it. They're addicted to it. It's like addiction. But if you eat more than about 2 or 3 of those, you can have a heart attack. It sends the blood pressure so high. Then you've got to ask another fruit called rambutan. You've got to eat rambutan, I think. Rambutan? Or maybe it's mangosteen. One of those two you have to eat to counter it. And then, so you can carry on eating. You're never satisfied in this world, but there's a point you just can't do anymore. But Krishna consciousness, spiritual, there is no satiation. No satiation. You can chant for eternity. Same mantra, isn't it incredible? And sometimes people would challenge, why you chant the same thing? Or read the same thing. Bhagavad Gita. Aren't you going to talk in the early days of the Krishna movement in New York, in America? Sometimes people, those days, 60s, people were reading books like Lobsang Rampa. Have you ever heard of Lobsang Rampa? You read that one? Yeah, we all did. It's like it was a wave, wasn't it? In the 60s, early 70s, it was a wave. Huh?
That was a blast from the past.
Blast from the past. That rhymes. You must be a poet. A blast from the past. Yeah, and things like Autobiography of a Yogi and all these books were around. They say, well, aren't you going to read from something else tomorrow, like Lobsang Rampa? Why the same book every day? Have you read this thing and that thing? People would ask. You can read it for... There's no end to things you can read. But when you find something that... What's the point of it all? Now, I want to read one verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Is there a Gita there?
Yeah.
Maybe someone can pass the Bhagavad Gita. We got quite a few versions there. Anyone coming for the first time today? First timer. Wow. Where are you from?
From India. Just recently came to UK.
Just recently came. Living in Manchester?
Yeah.
Same? And where are you from? Yeah.
I'm from Scotland actually, but I lived in Bolton.
Living in Bolton? Wow, so many people living in Bolton. And this morning many of the guests were from Bolton. And have you been to a Hare Krishna program before? Never! What brought you here today? Who's that? Someone else there? Oh, there, around the corner. You've been before? Yeah, of course you've been. Anyone else first timer? Just the three? Well, thanks for coming. I hope we're kind of talking pretty earthly right now. Now we'll go a little bit more into, let's say, spirituality. That's just some relative subject matters. We're going to read from the Bhagavad Gita. If you have a copy, you can come along with us. This is in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. It's text number 46, I think. Let's see. Yep, 46. 246. Water. You need a chair? You sure? I don't know if there are any. There may be some elsewhere if somebody does need a chair. Please don't be uncomfortable. It's already uncomfortable enough in this world. Don't make it worse. 246. Yavan ata udapane sarvataksam plutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. All purposes. This is a Bhagavad Gita. Have you seen this book before, Bhagavad Gita? Are you familiar with it? Okay, I'll just briefly mention. This is probably seen by most people in the world as the holy book of the Hindus. Would that be correct? Is that what most people think?
Yeah,
I'm not talking what we say, but I mean the people in general. Just like the holy book of the Christians is the Bible, and the holy book of the Muslims is the Quran. So people say the holy book of the Hindus is the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, that's all right in one sense, but it's more than that. It's not a holy book of just the Hindus. Even the Bible, in a sense, is not really limited to a group or a sect or anything like that, a cult or whatever you want to call it. It's knowledge, and some of it may be just historical or whatever it may be. But it's supposed to be knowledge to guide us to the plane or the level of consciousness beyond the material platform. Religiosity is meant. I mean, it may not be achieving that purpose, or it may be. Let it be. But it's meant to help us to come to spiritual understanding. not just to improve our lot in the material world. Most people see it as a methodology or a process, a form of worship or whatever you call it, to help improve our lot in the material world to the point where we may rise up to heaven. So sometimes we see that seems to be more the case. Religiosity is more for those who want to be good and improve their material position. Spirituality is a little different. Bhagavad Gita is not aimed at some temporary religious objective. It is knowledge which is eternal. So if that is the holy book of the Hindus, that means it is giving us knowledge, awareness, which is fundamentally the purpose of all other scriptures, all other religious teachings, everything. Because the purpose of all of this is to realize who we are. Does God exist? If so, what is our relationship with the Supreme? Why are we here? Everything. What is there karma? And if so, what is it? Reincarnation, is there a difference between the soul and the body? This has nothing to do with a localized, what it's called, Naimittika Dharma. It means a religious practice relevant to a particular time and circumstance. This knowledge given in Bhagavad Gita is eternal. It applies to every situation in eternity. It's not something which is just, something from a few hundred years ago that happened to appear and may disappear after a few hundred years. It doesn't have a historical beginning because it's eternal. It's knowledge of the eternality. This is the reality of the Bhagavad Gita, is knowledge which just explains reality and helps us to realize the reality. It's a literature, let's say, a teaching of genuine self-realization. It's not just a path. It is a path also, you could say, but it also gives the conclusion. So this verse today, you can say it's a part of that path. Vedic knowledge, spiritual knowledge, traditional knowledge, Veda means knowledge, it's ancient Sanskrit. Literatures give knowledge both material and spiritual. But in this case, this Bhagavad Gita is primarily aimed at spiritual knowledge. And we see that the knowledge of all walks of knowledge are divided into three different categories. There's Sambandha, which is introductory or just the basic knowledge itself. And there's Abhideya, which is the performance or the practical application of knowledge. And this applies to any subject. Let us take again the wonderful subject of a puri. You ready, Mr. Puri? So there's knowledge how to make a puri, right? If you don't know how to make a puri, you're not likely to get a puri, no matter what you do. You might say, I want a puri, I'm going to experiment. How are you going to make a puri?
I actually don't know.
You don't know, okay, you're honest. It's a good start, at least you're honest. If you said, I know, but you don't know, that's really a difficult one. Poo. It's not made of poo, that's for sure. You have to know the science. The knowledge has to be. What's the use of the knowledge? What's the use of the knowledge if you don't use it? Does it have any value?
No.
Not really, does it? You can't live on knowledge. So then you have to utilize that knowledge and put it into practice. It's like Abhideya. And then what's the result? If you have the right knowledge and you put the right practice, you practice it properly, what do you get? What do you get? Samosa?
Puri.
What do you get? You get a puri. Hopefully a good one. Hopefully a good one. If you've got the right knowledge and do it correctly, you're going to get a good puri, right? Not as easy as it sounds, but that's what you hope for. And so then you get the realization, right? You get the real, sometimes they say a pizza is a self-realized chapati. I don't buy into that, but anyway, some people say that. So you got a puri, and you taste it. Wow, we need to get the realization. You know what it is? This is a puri. Wow, I like a puri.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, we know you do. I do too. I like puri. So then, but you know, you only get the realization when you taste it, really, don't you? You can believe in it. You may have faith. Obviously, you have to have faith, otherwise you aren't going to go through it. But the realization comes when you actually taste it. Everything's like that, more or less. Spiritual life is like that too. Although it's inherent within us, spiritual nature is inherent within our very conscious subconsciousness, our heart, whatever you want to call it, the soul by nature, as spiritual. But we're so accustomed and covered in this material world to aspire to try to enjoy the objects of this world. So there's a nice verse here. All the Krishna, and this Bhagavad Gita was spoken, well, depends how you want to look at it. It's spoken again and again and again. Most recently spoken by Krishna, the Supreme Being, 5,000 years ago. That's the most recent, but he himself states, in the beginning I spoke this to the sun god. But that's a pretty far out statement. Have you ever spoken to the sun god?
No.
Maybe you've, dear sun, please shine. I'm living in Manchester. Please shine. Maybe, sentimentally, made an appeal like that. We sometimes hear about sun god and moon god and this sort of thing. I don't know how much we believe in all this stuff. But actually, from our perspective, it might be just a sentiment. But in the Vedic literature, it describes there is actually living entities living in the sun and in the moon. We may not see them. We're so conditioned to seeing living entities, like whatever, made of a combination of elements similar to our body, earthy, watery, whatever it is. Combination. And if something was made of ether, would you be able to see it? We have a lot of ether in our body, or maybe not so much ether, but air at least. Let's just take air. Some air, you have a lot of air in the body. But if someone had a body made of air, would we see it?
No.
You might feel it. You might say it has a ghost or something. You might feel it, but you can't see it. So we're so accustomed to thinking only bodies like this one are alive or existing. But there are living entities with a different combination of body, a body made of a different combination of elements. And you may not be able to perceive it with the senses that we have. It's understood, for instance, certain sound vibrations, maybe light vibrations also, we're not able to perceive in this human body. Others, maybe other species can perceive in this, even on this planet, can see or hear things we cannot. It's hard to conceive, isn't it? Even colors. How can it be possible? Because we haven't seen it. So on other planets there are living entities, and the soul is not the material, is not matter. The living entity takes a particular body according to their life, their desire, their karma, and so on. So it is not inconceivable that a living entity can have a body primarily composed of fire or air or ether or any of the material elements. And we may not be able to perceive it. It may not be possible. So Krishna said in the beginning, I spoke this Bhagavad Gita to the sun god, living being. Every planet there is a predominating ruler. On this planet there's also it doesn't mean the president of a particular country. They may be the predominant, at that moment anyway, leader of that country, but they don't own it. They're not like permanent, it's only a temporary situation. But the Earth planet has a ruler, has a predominating leader, called Deva, Bhumi Devi. Devi, it's a Devi, it's female. Bhumi Devi, predominating deity of this planet, unseen to us. But then again, if you were in the body, imagine if you were in the body of a microbe, even inside, in your body you have other living entities or not?
Yeah.
You have some puras in your body?
Yeah.
Living puras?
No, not living.
Not living, okay. That'd be exciting, wouldn't it? But there are living entities inside our body? Yeah. Even they say every cell is a living whatever, cell. It's alive. It's got symptoms of life. How many cells have you got in your body?
Millions.
Really? Millions? Are you feeding them all?
Yeah.
There's so many cells in our body, you can't count them. Even in one tip of a finger, there are, I don't know how many they say, but there's a hell of a lot of cells in the tip of a finger. Millions and maybe billions, I don't know, of cells in throughout the body, you know. Each of them, they're not aware that they're inside your body. They're not aware that, you know, they're like there's a one most conscious living being running the whole body. They're not aware of that. They're just in their own little world down there, trying to survive. Their level of consciousness is very low. So we think our level of consciousness is very high. But relatively speaking, it might be to those who are very low. But to those who have a higher consciousness, we're not even aware of their presence. We're not aware of it. So Krishna said, in the beginning I spoke this to the sun god, very powerful being. So this verse goes like this. This is one of the verses he speaks to Arjuna. He's giving him preliminary, beginning information, knowledge about the soul, and now a little bit about, you know, how we can achieve that realization. All purposes served by a small well, or body of water, can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. We could give another example. Now, how many of you here are billionaires? Pardon? Yeah? We know who to talk to afterwards. Billionaires. Because in France right now, our temple in France, I was asked to mention it for the sake of mentioning. Some of you have been to New Mayapur in France, the temple in New Mayapur? Who's been there? Hands up? You were there. Sheshri? 3 or 4 or 5 have been there. And this year, it's a property which Prabhupada, our spiritual master, inspired, you could say, and inspired the development. And for many years, because of various reasons, it's been struggling to survive. So slowly been getting back on our feet now, you could say. But this year, we take it as Krishna's mercy. This year, the government and the local administration of the local council, the mayor, the fire brigade, everybody basically speaking, the police, gave us a visit. They actually came to the temple. 30 of them came all at once to visit the temple, and they studied every nook and corner, if you know what I mean. Every square, everywhere, they went everywhere, in the cupboards, attics, basements, rooms, everywhere they looked, behind things, you know. And they made a complete report and gave us their synopsis of what they wanted us to do to bring this New Mayapur up to the health and safety standard. Well, we have no problem with that in one sense. We didn't expect it all at once. So they gave us 2 months to do the work. And there was like completely replace all the electricity. No small job when you've got a castle. And centralized fire alarm system throughout. We got 2 buildings, guest house and the chateau. And fire doors here, there, and everywhere. Even the washing machines had to be in a fireproof room. Completely fireproof. Numerous other things, little things. So they gave us 2 months. So it was a pretty, you know, we didn't have a clue how much this was going to be. And we couldn't just do it ourselves. They said, they have to approve. They said, you've got to have contracts approved by us. Professional contracts. Some another, by Krishna's grace, things moved. And we managed to get, we still haven't finished them all, but they're very happy that we've done the main ones, or we're doing the main ones. And some another Krishna provided the money pretty much for that. Miraculously, people we never even knew were giving money. But the total cost about €750,000 euros. We thought maybe 100 or 200, but when you start, boom, 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 and the Krishna's providing somehow or another those needed funds to do that. And I'm not quite sure you asked me to mention this, but the temple management asked me to mention it. Perhaps they were, I don't know, anyway, whatever it is. So it just shows how Krishna provides, you could say. But in one sense, we're happy because we were planning to do all these things over the next 5 or 10 years anyway, and now they're making it done. They extended it up to the end of October, and now they say we've got to replace the entire sewage and drainage system. It means we have to dig out the underground, the basement of the castle, and replace all the pipings and all the drainage systems, everything related to that. So that's the next thing they're going to give us to deal with. So, but if you're a billionaire, what is $750,000? Is it much? It's peanuts. It's like, pocket money. If you've only got 50 euros in your bank account, what is $750,000? Inconceivable. Absolutely inconceivable. It's a relative thing. But if £10 for one who's got $1 million is nothing. So similarly, this example is given here to the ocean. Whatever that little pond has got, is nothing to the ocean. In one sense, the water came from the ocean anyway, right? That's the way it usually works. The ocean's got unlimited amounts of water. That little pond maybe have, 20,000 litres or something. Pints, gallons, whatever. And the ocean, how many litres of water are in the ocean? Can't imagine, huh? You cannot imagine, right? It's inconceivable for a measurement. I don't know if it's possible to even estimate. Enormous amount. So this example is given. If you've got access to the ocean, what do you need to worry about a little pond for? If you've got £1 billion, what do you need to worry about £1? We're so busy trying to fiddle around with the little £1. Especially now. Similarly, Krishna says, all the purposes of the Vedas, the ancient scriptures, can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. Why? Because the purpose of the Veda, what is the purpose of knowledge? According to Bhagavad Gita, according to all scriptures, no philosophy. What's the purpose? Is it knowledge? Is it to get a good job? Is it to win debates? Is it to go to heaven? What's the purpose? Is it to know how to make a puri? Today is Puri Day today. National Puri Day. It would be nice to have a National Puri Day. I think it would really help people. One time Prabhupada, I don't know if Prabhupada said, we were told, Prabhupada, there's many of these statements, but it sounds good. Prabhupada said that if everyone takes halava for breakfast, there will be world peace immediately. Well, you won't be able to do anything else, you'll be eating halava. If you know what halava is, the most delicious breakfast cereal, I'll have to teach something about how to make halava one day, the way they used to make it. You ever hear your grandmother say that? Make it the way they used to make it. Don't make it like they used to. So, yes, if you've got, you can just understand. It's quite simple. What is the purpose of the Veda? Vedaischa sarvir aham eva vedo vedanta krit veda videva chaham. What does that mean?
Krishna is saying here like the purpose of knowing all the Vedas is himself. So Krishna is mentioning the purpose of all the Vedas is just to know himself.
And by all the Vedas, Krishna says, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedas, and I am the knower of the Vedas. The purpose of the Veda is to know Krishna. What's the purpose of human life? You ever asked that question? Different people will give different answers. What's the purpose of human life? Some will say no purpose. What purpose does it have? Yes. find meaning? Definitely. Jivasya, what's that verse? Yes, to search to find the meaning of life. I can't remember the Sanskrit word off by heart. To search for the meaning of life. What else would you say the purpose of life is?
Scientifically, it's reproduction.
Reproduction, okay. Keeping the ball rolling. Keep the wheels running, as the Indian railway system slogan used to be, huh? Keep the wheels running. Keep it going, somehow or another. Where you're going, we don't know. Where you're coming from, we don't know. But just keep it going. Simple as that. Of course, if you look at that from, you could say from various angles, you might think, what's the point of that? What else would people say? Purpose of life.
Self-realization.
Self-realization, okay. It's related to, what's your name? Me? Your name's me? Kit? Do people have such nice short names around here? I can't believe it. Last night was Lynn and Pat and this and that. All nice, simple, short names. Kit. Kit. Very simple. So Kit, similar, related to a certain extent, you know, searching for a purpose in life. Well, that goes further. The purpose of life is self-realization. So then you ask the question, what is a self? That's another question. You might say, self-realization means to find out what do we mean? What is the self? Who am I? You could put it in simple terms. Who am I? Of course, people will answer that from 100 different angles. What else would be another answer to that? What's the purpose of life?
Spreading joy and happiness.
Okay, very common answer. To enjoy, to be happy, right? Doesn't matter what it is, but somehow or another to be happy. A quest, we could say a quest for happiness. Life is a quest for happiness, but it's a never-ending endeavor because you can't really, I mean, you achieve a certain peak or a certain achievement and you may be feeling sort of like satisfied for some time, but it's not a permanent achievement. It's not an achievement which covers all aspects of our endeavor. What else, as people would say?
Mother Nature.
Pardon?
Purify heart, connect with Mother Nature.
To connect with Mother Nature, that's interesting. To feel at harmony or to be at with Mother Nature. Yeah, some people feel like that.
Yes.
Definitely. What else?
To learn who God is.
Pardon?
To learn who God is.
To learn, yeah. If you have that theistic belief, you want to find out who is God. It's related to who am I, no doubt. But it's like one more aspect of it. Yes. To learn how to make puris. Don't say that.
Another purpose of human life is to understand God, yes, but to also try and get back to Him.
Back to Godhead, huh?
Yeah, but we couldn't do in our previous births.
Couldn't do it in your you didn't make it in your previous birth. So now this life you're going to make it, right? Yeah. You're going to go back to Godhead on a puri. Fly. I like this one. Yeah, we call it Prabhupada coined the phrase, back to Godhead. Our magazine's called Back to Godhead. Returning to our original home. That could be said also, to return to home. I have a beautiful poem by one of my disciples, I'm not going to read it, it's called Return to Home. Yeah.
To revive our forgotten connection with the Lord.
Okay, these are all transcendental goals. To revive our forgotten relationship with the Lord, to understand God, to go back to Godhead and establish our relationship, all based on this quest for understanding what the purpose of life is, or something like that, self-related, all related. Huh? And you could go on and on, other people. And if you're in China, what's the purpose of life? A Chinese businessman, what will they tell you? Chinese businessman, what will they say? Purpose of life. Yes.
Profit.
Make profit, make money. Make money. Money is their God. They say that honestly. I worked with Chinese people for decades. And that's predominantly their main goal, to make money. Make money. I mean, they have a different family, have a nice family, a nice house, all little things, something it comes down to little things. Live a long life, science, different things, different purposes of life. But here it says, the purpose of knowledge is to realize the what's behind it, or where it comes from, the source. What is the source? Science is searching for that too, but they're only searching within the realm of phenomena which they can perceive. They can't search in the phenomena where they can't perceive. They can only perceive within the realm of their sensual perceptions. Or you could say there's to some extent experimentation, but that also only within the realm of their own perception when it comes down to it. Because you have to perceive it, even if you're using experimental methods or instruments to expand your perception. It's still the perception of the seer is ultimately that which counts. So that's limited, it's very limited. We have limited sense perception, which you already mentioned. There's a limited way of, but the quest is there. The quest is to try to find out the origin. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just limited. So if you add the spiritual dimension to that, then it becomes a little bit more open. But that spiritual dimension is not just like a manipulation of material elements to try to find out, how it all works. It's not. It's a matter of realization. It's a little different. It's on a subtle platform. So Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is giving us indication how this science of self-realization, how we can actually progress on that path of science of self-realization, to understand the origin, personal and impersonal. Many people think the origin is an all-pervasive Brahman, not personal. That's also there, but that is, Brahman is also, you could say, an energy. It's an energy. It's a light, pervasive light, which emanates, just like light comes from the sun. The sun is existing, the light is existing. The Brahman is existing, the Parabrahman is existing. Parabrahman is the personal from which Brahmana hui pratishtaham. Krishna explains that he is the origin of that Brahman. It comes from him. Many people just want to enter into the energy of the Lord. We're in the material energy right now. Spiritual energy of the Lord. Just entering, it has many different features also. So the impersonal aspect is just the all-pervasive Brahman. So one aspect of the absolute truth. But he has other aspects. Vedanti tattvavidam tattvajnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabhyate. The absolute truth can be understood in three features. Brahman is one. All-pervasive energy. Non-dualistic. And also there's the Paramatma, the super soul. That means the form of the absolute, unseen to us, but manifest in every, or present, not manifest, but present in everything that exists. Maintaining everything that exists. Something is maintaining, known as the super soul, Paramatma. Then there's Bhagavan, the personal form of Godhead, to whom everyone can have a relationship. No matter what we are now or what we think we are now, everyone has an inert relationship with the Supreme. So again, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is teaching us all these aspects of knowledge and the process of realization of these various aspects. Not just some theory, but practical application in our lives. And also indication what the fruit of that is, what that fruit is also. So we'll read a little bit more. All purposes of the Vedas. So if you know the purpose behind the Vedas, there is no need to spend one's time studying it. You may, you don't need to. You've realized the whole goal of it. It's like if you learn how to make puris, you know how to make puris. You don't have to keep studying it again and again and again. You already know. You just do it. You've achieved the purpose of the knowledge. So you're already satisfied. You're fully satisfied. So Prabhupada says, now I don't know what time is already up, but there's no problem. I remember this verse from the very early months that I came in touch with the Hare Krishna movement, because this was the very first verse that a member of the Hare Krishna movement read to me, this verse. There was no purport, to my knowledge, in the first version of the Bhagavad Gita. It was just the verse. But he explained the verse in such a way that I was satisfied. And it made a big change in my life because, like all of us, we all have our, let's say, our pleasures and our attachments in this world. Maybe we're attached to music. Maybe we're attached to sport. Maybe we're attached to many different things. We go on and on and on. But let's just take those two, music and sport, because they're quite universal, you could say. Music was the one I was, let's say, comparing. And I was thinking that Hare Krishna's, it's good. Philosophy, I can relate to it. The lifestyle, even I could relate to it. The principle was definitely along the lines of my hopes and aspirations of doing something genuinely beneficial for yourself and others. And many things which were in line. But I was just feeling like, how will that desire, that pleasure, be it flickering or not, but the pleasure from music, be satisfied in the Hare Krishna movement? They just chant Hare Krishna all day and night. They only play a few instruments. Not very exciting, but I have, so much pleasure in hearing this, that, and the other. And then this devotee read this to me. He was from Scotland, by the way. And he read this to me and he said, he explained the meaning, and I got it. That what we're really looking for is happiness, satisfaction, internally. Whatever it takes, we're looking for satisfaction, that never-ending quest for happiness or satisfaction. As we mentioned, maybe yesterday, I can't remember. Anandamoya Bhyasat, the living entity is pleasure-seeking, because we are part and parcel of the Supreme. Mame Vanksa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, Krishna says. Every living entity is part and parcel of his expansions, his energies. We have the same characteristic in a minute proportion as Godhead. Minute. So that characteristic is pleasure, ananda, pleasure seeking, anandamoya bhyasat. So you see, it's the pleasure which turns us on. You may get pleasure from one thing, be it a pizza or a puri. Somebody else may not get pleasure from that. They get pleasure. One of the little boys was going like this. The young man here with an N shirt. Wasn't sure. We were like this. Yes or no. Weren't sure. Somebody else is saying different movements. You like pizzas? Yeah. Here's a pizza. You got a pizza? Someone else is saying. Someone else is saying. All different hand movements mean yes, no, maybe. But if you've got that satisfaction, you don't hanker for anything else. You're satisfied. The material would only last a little while, then you've got to search again. Music, how long you can live, and then another one, a different one. Try another one. Never satisfied. I used to accumulate records like anything. And then I realized that it's the happiness that makes the urge to indulge or to experiment or to taste or to hear, whatever. We're looking for satisfaction. So if you've got that satisfaction from the ocean, you don't need to keep looking in the well for that same pleasure. It's intrinsic, it's constitutional nature of the soul to be blissful. In contact with matter, we only get what's called chaplashuk, flickering happiness, like a reflection of happiness. How much pleasure can you get from a reflection? Not much. Or a shadow. Ever tried enjoying a shadow? It may be a beautiful woman or a beautiful man, shadow, but if you grab the shadow, what do you get? Not much, huh? Maybe get a few bruises if you go too quickly. But there's the reality, so the material was like a reflection of reality. If you get the real thing, then you don't hanker after the imitation. If you have a real diamond, what do you need an imitation one for? Plastic one. Jewel. So like that, I could understand that this is the essence. You could say Krishna consciousness fulfills the inner quest, the inner needs. External things come and go. You have to take care as best you can, but they don't satisfy the soul. They're not satisfying to the soul. They're known as Shrama Evahi Kevalam in the teachings of the Vedas. It means ultimately they're a waste of time. It's a waste of endeavor. Working hard, then you die and it's all gone. It's all gone. Come, nations come, go. Wealth comes, go. Body comes, go. Everything comes, go. But the realization or the happiness within is when that's there, that satisfaction is there, then automatically all other hankerings can be satisfied. Okay, well, our time is up, 2:15, and I hope there's sufficient puris this afternoon. Otherwise, what was your name again?
Naman.
Naman?
Yeah.
Naman?
Yeah.
Naman.
Yeah.
Naman and myself will go on a protest.
There are no police.
Huh? No police around here. We'll form a protest.
Balasi foods.
We demand more puris. Now they're demanding more money. We demand more puris. More puris. Start making the sign. Okay, placards. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Read the verse. Read the purport. 2:46. If you have time. If you haven't got a Gita, maybe you'd like to get one. We've got plenty here. Any questions? I can give you the recipe for making really good puras if you want. Okay. Well, you were a lively lot here. We've had too much for lunch or something, or what? Overdosed. Ah, someone's got the energy to put a hand up over here.
Maharaj, I wanted to know, you said that, that if you are satisfied, then the material attachments you get rid of material attachments if you are satisfied.
Well, you're not interested. They might be there, but you're not interested.
How do you make sure that you are satisfied? Because in Krishna consciousness you're never satisfied really, because you want more of it.
How do you make sure? Yes. Well, that's the difference between matter and spirit. Matter and spirit has a beginning and end. It goes up and down. Spiritually never. It just keeps going one way. The further you go that way, the further you get away from that. So it'll just be natural that you'll just, if you're going, if you're going further on the spiritual path, it'll be a diminishing of interest on, the norms of, let's say, material sense gratification. It's natural.
And then when you get less attached, maybe to your family or something like that, does it affect the relationship?
Well, there's material relationships and spiritual relationships. And you have to have a little common sense in life. It's not just a sentiment only. There has to be some common sense or intelligence. So one sees differently. I mean, you can read in the Bhagavad Gita, how does a self-realized person see others?
As part of God.
Pardon? A part of God, but okay. Vidyavanaya sampane, Bhamaniga vihashtani. How do they see other living entities?
Sorry?
How do they see other living entities as part of God, but they see them also equally, spiritually?
That is a soul inside.
Yeah, they see them. And they will act according to their duty when in this world.
Right.
When in this world, they'll act according to their duty, their responsibilities, etc., etc. So if you have a family responsibility, you perform your family responsibility, but you'll perform it in a different consciousness, not in the same consciousness that perhaps a less advanced or a person who is not at all self-realization, who simply sees their family as their own, as maybe they have materially protective mentality, which is good. Maybe, but they're trying. Obviously, they're looking for pleasure in their family. They think it's my wife, my child, my this, my that. So a self-realized person doesn't see it as mine, but he sees it as my duty is there to protect them, to guide them, etc. Krishna's arranged this. They're not my property, they belong to Krishna. Everything's like that. The whole world is like that. Everything is there. It's, for practical purposes, we have designations and labels and give it what you know. But a self-realized soul sees it as the energy of the Supreme Being and knows how to use it most favorably, or tries to use it most favorably for that purpose, for the pleasure of the Lord, whether it's a person or an object or whatever it may be, tries to use it like that, in relationship with Krishna. But not attached either. Not attached. Responsible, but not attached. Not dependent. Dependent on Krishna, not upon the objects of this world. And if someone becomes dependent on such a person who's dependent on Krishna, that person who becomes dependent on that person who's dependent on Krishna also makes advancement in spiritual life. In other words, a wife or husband whose wife or husband is Krishna conscious, they also benefit from their assisting or working together, whatever it is. So it's, a devotee also feels paradukha dukhi. What does that mean? Well, we must know that one, some of you. Paradukha dukhi. What does it mean?
To feel for the pain of the other.
Yeah, because it's natural. A devotee is not heartless. He's not like impervious to the sufferings of others around him. They're not your body. Why are you making such a big issue of it? No, he knows that people are on that level of consciousness. They think they are their body, and they're suffering as a consequence. And a devotee feels feels pain that living entities are suffering in this way. So we do the needful, and that needful sometimes doesn't necessarily appear to be so transcendental. The needful may initially, or at certain stages, appear to be somewhat mundane. You're going to help somebody. They're trying to cross the road, they've just had an accident, you're going to walk by them, you're not your body, forget about this. Of course they're not. Devotees, they're part and parcel of Krishna. Nobody likes to see anyone suffer. Ant, bee, bird, beast, human, you name it. Nobody likes to suffer. Even if the cause is gross ignorance, still the devotee feels compassionate and acts in a way to help that living entity gradually progress, that's all. Whatever it takes. It can be varying according to time, place and circumstance, but definitely wouldn't be callous to that. We're not God, we're not Jesus Christ or anything, we're just ordinary living beings, but we still have that same mentality of compassion. Whether it's covered or not, or whether it's perverted or not, is another thing, but it's there in everybody. Compassion for others. Not just your own family. Devotee feels compassion for everyone.
Thank you.
One more question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, the shloka that you were telling, that Krishna is the compiler of all the Vedas, through all the Vedas he has to be known. So when he says that, specifically what does Lord mean? He has to be known. So what aspect of him has to be known? Or if he is the Lord, people know that. Now what exactly has to be known from the layman's point?
From our angle, the knowledge of the Supreme, as we mentioned that verse, Vadanti tat tat vidas tat vidyagyanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdite. And to know the various tattvas, or the features of Godhead. Now we may not realize them, but knowledge of the various features of God and the relationship of the energies with God is to be known. And the process of understanding how, if you so desire, how we can become free of the influence of the, let's say, the lower nature, the material nature, and with an understanding of the higher nature, both ours and that of the Supreme, and the means to realize that. So at our stage, it sounds like there's quite a bit of gyan, but the realization of that knowledge, which is given in the scriptures, in the Vedas, and by realized souls, the real essence of that is the guidelines which are given, the directions which are given to realize that knowledge. Now when you realize that knowledge, you're not really, more or less, if you've actually realized that knowledge, the methodology, the knowledge of the various tattvas becomes insignificant, because you're absorbed on a platform of realization and fully satisfied. So you may not even need to know or even consider the presence of other aspects of the Absolute Truth. And particularly, as say in the case of Bhagavan realization, when our inert relationship or our inherent relationship within us with the Supreme Nature within us is awoken, you're fully satisfied. You're not going to be worried about what's so. And even the material world, you find that when you're really well situated in your naturally material position, if that's possible, you don't feel envious of others. You don't feel in any way, bothered that they've got more money than you, or that they're more famous than you. You're satisfied. So when the living entity's inherent nature is actually awoken, or process of self-realization, the living entity is not worried about all these aspects. Not that you don't know about it, not that you haven't been through it, not that you decry it in any way, but even Paramatma realization of the Super Soul in the heart, Lord in the heart, or the realization of the Brahman, or even the realization of God's majestic nature, or his creator, or whatever it is not really interesting. You don't decry it, but it's not something we're interested in. Your goal is to let's say, just achieve your natural condition or natural constitution. And when situated there, you have no more worry about it. Mother, for instance, totally with the baby, is completely absorbed in the mood of motherliness. She doesn't have a relationship like, a buddy with her baby. Hey, buddy. No, the relationship is completely satisfying, at least up to that point, where she's in a motherly situation. So the Spirit Soul also like that. When realization is there, up to the point where realization isn't there, stage by stage, then different knowledge is required to move or to understand the process of what is the goal. You need objective, you need a goal. Just like if you want to go from here, where do you go on your holidays from Manchester these days? Where do people go? Where do you go? Pardon? Old Trafford? Really? Is it Old Trafford? Huh? Yeah, it's a long way to go. Where do you go for your holidays?
India.
India? Goodness. India. Where the local people go? I don't think many go to India. Obviously, you're an Indian family, you go to India. But where do the local people go? Come on, some locals. They still go to Blackpool? Are you sure? I think Spanish people go to Blackpool.
USA.
Where do you go?
America.
Huh? Where's that? Wales. You go to No, is that as far as you go? You're not very adventurous, you Blackpool people. You Manchester people. Blackpool, Old Trafford, Wales. I mean, don't you go any further afield?
America, New York.
New York, okay, that's a bit further afield. But I thought that British people went to the Mediterranean or somewhere like that. Do they not do that anymore? Huh? Portugal? Huh?
Yes, Spain.
Spain, Portugal, isn't it? Huh? Rome, Italy,
Yeah.
Greece, Turkey, Malta,
Portugal.
Croatia. I think so. You get these flights from the airport, don't you? And there's, what's it called? Narayan Air? Narayan Air? Is that what it's called? Narayan Air? With £10 you can fly off to the Mediterranean practically. The airports are packed with people going to South Spain, Portugal, Turkey, here, there and everywhere. Get to the sun, right? Go to the sun. Okay, you get some information, you get knowledge about Portugal. Right? Some brochure or somebody tells you about it. You find out, I'm going to go there. And you look it up. Narayan Air flies to somewhere in Portugal. Then you've got to get the money together. Get it there. When you're there, hopefully you'll have a nice time, of course. Hopefully not raining all the time. But, you're completely absorbed in enjoying yourself there in Portugal. You're not thinking about Manchester. You're thinking about Portugal, enjoying the beach there, You got to have the knowledge. You compare it, and which one takes your fancy. You go here and there. Different people choose different things because we're all different. So in the Absolute Truth also, there's variety. But when you've got what you really want, you're satisfied. You're not worried. You don't even want to hear about the other ones necessarily. Anyway, something along those lines. You have that choice. Krishna is revealing various aspects of the absolute truth. As in the material world, we have different aspects, and you make your choices. That's the inherent nature of the soul. Makes those choices. And when it's what you really are or really want, you don't hanker for anything else. Better you don't know about it, because then you might become, frustrated or whatever. It's absorbed in our nature. Okay, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So if there are any billionaires, you may have a billion hairs, I don't know. Billionaires, come and see me afterwards, okay? You can fix the drainage on New Mayapur just with some pocket money, okay? It'll probably cost about $250,000 by guess estimate. Euros is the same, pounds these days are the same. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. Boom, boom, boom. Anyone here from Leicester?
Yes.
What's your name?
Ranchur Dwarkadish.
Ranchur Dwarkadish Prabhu. What happened? Ajit was supposed to come. You know Ajit? Wonderful name, Ajit.
Ajit, yeah.
He didn't come.
He didn't come.
He was there. Huh?
He messaged me.
Did he? What did he say?
I don't know, I didn't read the message.
Oh, okay, that's good news. So he said he was coming, but he didn't come. Okay. Maybe, do you come by bus, train, or car?
Train.
Train. It's still working, the trains are working, huh?
I think Friday.
Oh, okay, I heard there's some kind of strike or something, is that right? Train strike? I don't know, someone told me. I don't know. Support the strikes. We saw it downtown yesterday, hundreds and thousands of people with placards. Support the strikes. Support the strikes. I think they're not very happy with the present government, as far as I could make out. Didn't seem like it. But they'll never be happy with the government, let's face it. Has anyone ever been happy with that? I don't think so. We should put this there too, I guess.